There's a truth that many men in their 60 seconds never actually hear. Sometimes the things that improve circulation, energy, and performance don't come in a pill bottle. They often come from something far more ordinary. Something sitting quietly in the kitchen, a simple white powder almost every household already has: baking soda. After more than a decade working with older men, I've met so many who describe their bodies as slowing down, reacting differently than before, or losing the confidence they once had. Some believe it's just age. Others think they've passed their peak. But when we look closer, the story is very different. What surprises most men is this: major improvements in circulation and vitality often begin with the smallest changes. Not complicated therapies, not hormones, but gentle support for the body's chemistry. The same chemistry that shifts quietly with age and rarely gets attention. Today, I want to open a new perspective on how baking soda, when used correctly, can help the body function more smoothly after 60. It's not a miracle, but it is a natural, safe tool that has helped many of my patients feel a real difference. And in just a moment, we'll explore the 10 most important benefits, from biology to emotional well-being, so you can understand why something so small can spark such meaningful change. If you're a man over 60 who appreciates natural and safe ways to support circulation, energy, and performance, you can subscribe to Men's Vitality Over 60. I share new insights every week based on real conversations with men who are navigating the same challenges, and so I know whether this topic is truly helpful. Type 1 below if you want more natural tips like this, or 0 if not. It helps me shape the content in the most useful way for our community. After 60, many men begin to feel their bodies responding more slowly. Yet very few realize that it isn't simply age. Inside the body, quiet shifts take place day after day. Acidity rises just enough to make blood vessels tighten. Even the smallest narrowing can reduce the amount of blood reaching areas that rely on strong pressure. At the same time, low-grade inflammation gradually builds over the years. It doesn't cause pain or fever, but it does slow down the body's ability to produce nitric oxide, the key signal that tells blood vessels when to open. Mitochondria, the energy centers inside the smooth muscle cells of the penis, also become less efficient. When their output drops, maintaining a firm response becomes harder than before, and as the nervous system becomes more sensitive to stress, the body can easily switch off at the very moments when calmness and connection matter most. All of these small factors combined create a noticeable decline in circulation, even when standard lab results appear normal. Understanding these subtle changes is precisely why adjusting the internal environment, especially pH balance, matters so much. This sets the stage for baking soda to create changes many men never expected. Even a slight drop in pH can make blood vessels tighten. It's not something most men can feel, but it gradually restricts how much blood moves through the body. Think of a garden hose being gently pinched. Water still flows, but not with the force needed to reach its destination. The body works the same way when the internal environment leans more acidic. Baking soda, with its naturally alkaline properties, helps neutralize this excess acidity. As the pH shifts back toward balance, blood vessels begin to relax, soften, and allow blood to move more freely. It's not a forceful effect like medication. It's a gentle correction, addressing the root of the problem rather than overpowering it. Harold, age 69, is a perfect example. After months of feeling slow, unfocused, and less responsive physically, he tried a simple morning routine with baking soda. Within 3 weeks, he told me he felt lighter, clearer, and, most importantly, noticed better circulation. Once pH finds its balance again, the body becomes ready to unlock the next positive changes on its own. Low-grade inflammation is one of the silent reasons circulation weakens with age. It doesn't cause pain or fever, but it makes blood vessels less flexible and slower to react when the body needs them to open. Even a mild level of inflammation can weaken the open signal, preventing blood from flowing as strongly as before. Baking soda helps calm this process by reducing the excess acidity that allows inflammatory reactions to flare more easily. When acidity decreases, the internal environment becomes softer, calmer, and far more supportive of healthy blood vessel function. I once worked with Samuel, age 71, A strong, active man who still felt as if his body was working against him. His lab work showed slightly elevated inflammatory markers. After a few weeks of taking diluted baking soda each morning, the first change he noticed was a sense of ease throughout his body, and gradually, his physical responses began to return more naturally. When inflammation quiets down, the body doesn't just circulate better, it becomes more capable of responding, at the right moment in the way it was meant to. One of the most meaningful changes baking soda brings is its effect on the endothelium, the delicate inner lining of the blood vessels. When this layer is healthy, it acts like a finely tuned switchboard, opening and relaxing at the exact moments the body needs it to. It's one of the quiet foundations of strong, reliable circulation. Over the years, excess acidity, mild inflammation, and oxidative stress make the endothelium sluggish. It doesn't respond as quickly or as smoothly, and men often describe the result as feeling slow, dimmed, or not fully online. By helping restore a more balanced internal environment, baking soda allows the endothelium to function the way it was designed to, fluid, responsive, and coordinated. Thomas, 66, experienced this firsthand. He exercised regularly but still felt his body reacting half a beat too late, as if something inside wasn't waking up with him. After a few weeks of combining a morning baking soda routine with slow, deep breathing, he told me, "It feels like someone flipped the switch. Everything reacts naturally again without forcing it." That is the power of a healthy endothelial environment. When the inner lining of the vessels comes back to life, the body opens into a flow that feels smooth, steady, and strong from within. Most men don't realize that erectile tissue has one of the highest oxygen demands in the entire body. Even a small drop in oxygen delivery, just a slight reduction, can make it harder to stay firm, easier to lose strength halfway through, or more difficult to maintain consistency from one moment to the next. With age, acidity, and low-grade inflammation can impair the red blood cells' ability to move freely and carry oxygen efficiently. The result is subtle at first, but over time it becomes noticeable. By improving pH balance and reducing strain on the circulatory system, baking soda helps red blood cells move more easily and deliver more oxygen to the tissue that depends on it most. It's a small shift with a surprisingly profound impact. Richard, 72, spent decades as a firefighter and always described his recent years as feeling underpowered. When he added a small amount of baking soda to his morning water, it took only a few weeks before he noticed something different. He told me he felt warmer, more awake in his body, a warmth that in reality was a sign of oxygen reaching where it needed to go. Once oxygen delivery improves, erectile tissue responds with greater strength, stability, and reliability, the kind of responsiveness many men thought they had lost for good. Once oxygen reaches erectile tissue more effectively, the next step in creating strong physical response depends on the smooth muscle cells inside the penis. These cells are responsible for holding blood in place during an erection. When they work well, blood stays where it needs to be, creating firmness and staying power. When they weaken, it becomes easy to lose strength within minutes. The energy for these smooth muscle cells comes from the mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside each cell. With age, mitochondrial activity slows. Acidity and oxidative stress weaken them even more, leaving the muscles without the stamina to maintain blood flow long enough. By creating a less acidic environment, baking soda helps mitochondria function more efficiently. When these small power centers come back to life, smooth muscle cells regain the energy they need to do their job, holding blood firmly and reliably. Gerald, 68, spent his working years as a mechanic and often used engine metaphors to describe his health. He once told me it felt like his engine kept losing power halfway. After a period of taking baking soda in warm water on mornings when he exercised lightly, he returned to my office smiling. "The engine's running again, Doc. Smoother than before. When smooth muscle cells are energized, responses don't just appear, they stay. Strength is held, not fleeting." Many men have perfectly normal testosterone levels, sometimes even excellent levels, and yet they still feel flat, unmotivated, or less responsive physically. That's because testosterone, alone, isn't the whole story. The receptors that receive the hormone can become sluggish with age. Acidity, mild inflammation, and oxidative stress act like static on a radio signal. The message is there, but it doesn't get through. Baking soda helps by easing the acidic and inflammatory environment that interferes with these receptors. When the internal chemistry becomes calmer and more balanced, receptors start picking up the hormone signal more clearly. Martin, 64, understood this better than anyone. For months, he described himself as emotionally quiet without drive, even though his blood work showed strong testosterone levels. After a few weeks of his morning baking soda routine, he noticed something subtle but powerful. "It's not just the physical part that changed," he told me. "It's my energy during the day. It feels like something turned back on." When testosterone receptors become responsive again, the whole system brightens. Not just sexually, but emotionally, mentally, and physically. The body moves with more intention, more clarity, more strength. The liver and kidneys quietly determine far more about a man's circulation and physical responsiveness than most people realize. Over decades, the body accumulates acids and metabolic waste. These two organs work tirelessly to filter, clear, and maintain internal balance. When they're overloaded, men often describe feeling heavy, slow, or low in vitality. Even when routine lab tests appear normal, baking soda eases the burden on these organs by neutralizing excess acidity. This reduces the filtration load and allows blood to move through the liver and kidneys more efficiently. For many older men, even this small shift brings a noticeable change in how the body feels throughout the day. Carlos, age 70, is a clear example. He lived a generally healthy lifestyle, but he always mentioned feeling weighed down, as if something inside him was running at half speed. After a few weeks of taking baking soda in warm water, he reported feeling lighter, clearer, and more energized. His mind felt sharper, and the sluggishness he'd carried for years began to fade. When the liver and kidneys work with less strain, the whole body moves more smoothly, and circulation naturally follows. For men over 60, belly fat is far more than a cosmetic concern. This type of abdominal fat is biologically active. It produces an enzyme called aromatase, which converts testosterone into estrogen. The more belly fat there is, the more this conversion occurs. Over time, many men notice less drive, lower daily energy, and weaker physical response. Even though they can't point to a single clear cause, baking soda can gently support blood sugar stability, which helps reduce sugar cravings, especially in the evening when many older men feel the strongest pull toward sweets. When blood sugar stays steadier, the body stores less excess fat and hormonal balance begins to return to its natural rhythm. Jack, 66, talked about this often. He described feeling attacked by sugar cravings, particularly late at night. After a few weeks of adding a small amount of baking soda to his morning lemon water, those cravings eased noticeably. He felt lighter in his midsection, slept more soundly, and, perhaps most telling, his natural drive began to re-emerge. As belly fat decreases and metabolism steadies, testosterone is allowed to function as it should, leading to stronger, more reliable physical response. Many men don't realize how deeply their physical response depends on the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calmness, connection, and relaxation. When the body becomes more acidic or carries long-term low-grade inflammation, the nervous system shifts into a subtle state of alertness. It's not dramatic, but it makes the body tense, easily startled, and far more likely to switch off during intimate moments. By reducing overall acidity, baking soda helps take pressure off the nervous system. When the internal environment becomes less reactive, the parasympathetic system finally gets room to do its job, creating the steady, grounded state that intimacy depends on. Tom, age 70, described this perfectly. He often told me he would lose his calm at the very moment he needed it most. After a few weeks of consistent baking soda use, he noticed something changing. The tightness eased, his mind felt quieter, and most importantly, his body responded when it needed to without suddenly disconnecting. A calmer nervous system is the foundation of natural, satisfying intimacy. When the body stops bracing itself, connection becomes easier, smoother, and far more reliable. One of the simplest ways to enhance the effects of baking soda is to pair it with fresh lemon or apple cider vinegar. When these ingredients meet, they create a gentle fizz, making the drink easier to tolerate and offering additional benefits: improved bile flow, better liver function, smoother digestion, and more relaxed blood vessels. This combination also helps baking soda absorb more comfortably, reducing the mild bloating that some older adults experience when taking it alone. For many men, this becomes an easy, low-impact way to support circulation and boost morning energy. Barry, age 74, experienced this clearly. He began each day with warm water, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. After just a month, he told me he was waking up brighter, warmer, and far more responsive. Changes he thought were no longer possible at his age. A small habit, but when paired correctly, it delivers remarkably large improvements. After learning about the 10 key benefits of baking soda, many men ask the same question: how should I use it so I can actually feel a real change and do it safely? The answer lies in a very gentle morning habit, one that is simple, easy to follow, and well-suited for men in their 60 seconds and beyond. The routine is uncomplicated. In the morning, before eating, prepare a glass of warm water, not hot. Add a little fresh lemon juice or a few drops of apple cider vinegar. Then stir in about 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Doing this 3 to 4 days a week is enough for most men to notice a shift. The light fizz created by this combination helps the body absorb it smoothly, supporting liver and bile flow while easing digestive strain. Some men find that taking it before a short 10 to 15-minute walk enhances the circulation benefits even more, as the body becomes more receptive to movement and oxygen flow. However, anyone with kidney conditions, heart issues, or medications that depend on stomach acidity should consult a doctor before starting. And it's important to remember that the goal isn't rapid transformation. The purpose is to give the body the right environment to gradually restore itself, gently, safely, and naturally. There is something I always want men in their 60s to understand clearly. The body is not broken, and it has not abandoned anyone. The changes that unfold over the years, slight shifts in pH, low-grade inflammation, slower mitochondria, a more sensitive nervous system, are natural consequences of time. They are not personal failures, and they are not signs that the stronger, more vibrant years are gone forever. After working with hundreds of men, one truth has become undeniable. When the body is given the conditions it needs, it responds, sometimes more strongly than expected. Small changes, like a gentle morning habit with baking soda, supporting the liver and kidneys, reducing internal acidity, and improving circulation, can become the first steps toward renewed confidence, steadiness, and connection. When recent months feel heavier, weaker, or less responsive, it doesn't say anything about a man's worth or strength. It simply means the body is asking for a softer, more supportive environment, a chance to regain the balance that's been slipping away. And the encouraging part is this: it is never too late. If these insights have offered hope or helped make sense of what's been happening inside, pressing the like button can help this video reach other men who might be struggling silently. Leaving a 1 below lets me know the information was helpful, while a 0 tells me to adjust and improve the way I guide this community. Every comment deepens my understanding of the men I serve, and for anyone ready to continue rebuilding vitality, steadiness, and joy in the years after 60, subscribing to Men's Vitality Over 60 ensures we walk this journey together, step by step, with science, compassion, and respect at every turn.